It's so joyful and it's so so liberating to find this beauty and joy in the things that I have held so much judgment and weirdness
Right.
around.
Yes, 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 yes,
And
yes.
just go, why? Why? And I've just found safety.
Hey friends, so I just had a conversation with the incredible Paden Hughes, and I'm so excited for you to hear this. This is a 100% woo conversation, which is the title of her podcast. And that's really what it was. We really just went 100% woo. And I said at the beginning of the conversation that I was so excited to geek out with her, and we did. So hopefully, it's fun for you guys to go there. And if there's anything that you're like, what are you talking about? Feel free to reach out to me or to Peyton, ask us questions. Or if you're like totally on vibe and like, yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about when you said that thing about human design, or when you said that thing about past lives, or when you said that thing about soul entry, or when you said that thing about the witch wound and the sister wound, whatever resonates with you that you're all on board with, we'd love to hear that too. I'm really excited for you guys to dive into the world that I just was in, which felt like such a fun, I don't even know what to call it, to be honest. I don't even want to label it. It just felt very outside the box and super spontaneous and unplanned, as they all are, but like this is like was like extra fun and spontaneous. So enjoy. Hey, love, if your soul has been whispering for more connection, more clarity, more you, come join us for a truly sacred weekend, the Goddess of Light Retreat, happening September 28th to the 30th, 2025, in the breathtaking energy of Mount Hood National Forest in Oregon. This immersive retreat is an Akashic record reading certification and soul activation experience designed to bring you home to your deepest knowing and infinite wisdom of the Akashic. We'll gather in sisterhood to open the Akashic records. You will learn to read the Akashic for yourself and for others through a powerful 4-part training that begins before the retreat and culminates in our live graduation ceremony in Oregon. And if for any reason you don't feel fully empowered by the end of our retreat, we're going to have a couple more Zooms afterwards. It's not just about learning. This is about empowering you. This is about embodying the full spectrum of what it means to open the Akashic. We will infuse our time together with transformational breathwork, Reiki, and art activation with Amy Tangerine, cacao ceremony, forest waterfall walk, and space to integrate in nature while soaking in the hot tub that's an indoor-outdoor hot tub, having fully catered, nourishing meals, and some quiet magic time. This is about remembering who you are and why you're here. It's about unlocking your gifts in a circle that sees you and supports you. Spots are intentionally limited, so head to the link in the show notes or reach out to me directly to feel into whether this is for you. I would be honored to welcome you into the Akashic Records and into this sacred retreat. Welcome to the Authentic Creative, where we expand our capacity to feel good one deep breath, one bold choice, and maybe a little bit of magic at a time. I'm Siri Baruch Thornton, healer, creative, and lifelong explorer of all things energy, self-expression, and joy. With over 26 years of experience in Reiki, Akashic Records, and transformational breathwork, I've learned that feeling good is not a luxury, it's a practice. And sometimes it's a little messy. This podcast is here to help you trust your intuition, break the rules, the ones that need breaking, and live more fully in your gifts. So give yourself a deep breath, get cozy, and let's dive in.
I'm really excited as usual, but especially today we have Paden Hughes here. She is a transformational coach, energy healer, and best-selling author who helps high-powered women move from burnout to liberation. As the creator of Liberated Lightworker and host of the 100% Woo podcast, she guides CEOs, founders, and professionals to activate their intuitive and psychic gifts, aligning with a life of flow, freedom, and fulfillment. I love this. After scaling her own business to 7 figures, by age 30, Paden faced a breaking point juggling entrepreneurship and motherhood. This collapse sparked a deep spiritual awakening and a return to her Celtic roots, nature based rituals, and feminine wisdom. Now she supports women in reclaiming their energy and intuition through channeled tools, energy clearing, and sacred practices. I'm getting head chills. Her work blends grounded strategy with soul guidance, helping women step into their power, clear limiting beliefs, and embody their inner wise woman in life and business. I mean, that's a rockin' bio right there. I love your work. I'm so excited to geek out with you about all things spiritual, Peyton. I'm curious, let's start
Of
from the beginning if that's okay. Like,
course.
where did you grow up? What was your childhood like?
You know, I'm such a believer that our soul chooses all these elements.
Me
It's
too.
all the backdrop, which is why I love that you start here, because what my soul clearly wanted for me and
Yeah.
gifted to me through my family of origin is a very talented father, Stanford grad, management consultant who really just wanted to be a pastor.
Oh,
And
wow.
so he had all the accolades, all the corporate expertise, but kept wanting to go into spiritual leadership
Hmm.
through the evangelical Christian track. And I watched my dad in all of his talent and exuberance for life
Hmm.
have a skill set that he didn't love or that didn't fill his cup and
Hmm.
always want to be directing back, but couldn't make money doing it. Like it was, and I don't know that he would say it that way, but just my experience as a child was like, oh, you're going to be poor if you're a pastor. But if you go into management consulting, you're going to have money, but your heart's not in it. So you pendulum between, my dad had five kids. I'm the oldest of five.
Oh, you're
And
the oldest
oldest of
girl.
five, grew up in the Bay Area. So being a pastor making 30 grand a year in the 90s with five children in Palo Alto.
Yeah.
It was an interesting place to be in a front row seat because he's so talented and he had so much to give to the world. And it was hard to watch or interesting to watch. The message I received was you can't make money doing what you're passionate about. That was,
Okay.
I think, the way I experienced it as a
Hmm.
kid.
Hmm.
And so he would be successful if he did the thing that he was quote unquote good at, but it wasn't his creative passion. My dad's a creator. He's
Mm.
so charismatic. And my mom's an artist and then was a stay-at-home mom. And I was raised as a pastor's kid, is what I tell most people. Although obviously my dad went back and forth every few years from pastoring to back to management consulting of global firms and all these different things. So it was really interesting to witness that. And then we moved a lot as a result
Hmm.
of these vocational pivots that were being made. And yeah, so that's how I was raised. I was raised watching kind of my dad navigate this. I was raised as a woman or to be a woman. And in Christianity, my spiritual giftedness allowed me to work with children, period. Maybe when I became a mom, I could work with women. And I remember my dad and I talking, and I was like, there doesn't seem to be a place for me in Christianity. And he would say, well, you could work with kids. And I'm like, that's not who I'm supposed to work with.
Mm.
Like, I am not supposed to work with them. Anyways, I remember just
Yeah.
having this sense of I come from a spiritual teaching lineage.
Yeah.
Like, my family are writers, they're poets, they're creators, they're like very spiritual humans. And I was taught to be spiritual through the Christian lens as the only way. And really struggled with that because I'm a neurodivergent, sensitive human. And I know, like, no matter what your religious faith, if it has a title or if it's just a personal expression, there is something really powerful about hearing music and your soul just reverberating in
Mm.
every way and feeling a cosmic pull. And I always thought that validated Christianity is the only way. What I
Mm.
now believe to be true is I'm just a really sensitive being, and my church can be nature, my church can be anywhere, and I am super hardwired for spiritual connection, and I love it.
Yeah.
But I didn't personally. I think that my soul chose a very strict Christian homeschool dynamic for me as a child, for me to really understand how patriarchy, religious indoctrination can really program women specifically, creative, sensitive women specifically, to stay small and to not ruffle feathers.
Mm.
So that's really the backdrop here.
Talk to me about staying small and not ruffling feathers because I find that to be so up for me right now.
Yeah.
And for all of us women,
Yeah.
it's trained into us regardless, really. I mean, at least in American and a lot of European society. I don't know, but I think I'm making a generalization, but I feel like it's very much ingrained into women in general.
Right. And I even think it's a patriarchal trap put over women on purpose. Like what lands as true to me is this is not something that just was a byproduct. It was consciously at some moment in time, women are a threat,
Yeah.
especially sensitive women, especially creative women,
Mm,
especially women connected to their body's wisdom, the earth wisdom,
mm,
into spiritual abilities. That would have absolutely threatened the church. And when I say the church,
yep.
it was really the way power moved in the Dark Ages and then became an inherited system that merged, especially in America, merged with politics. So I think there is something about it being particularly prolific here because the white people who came to America and created America came here for religious freedom. But
Mm,
who were they trying to be free from? And what did that freedom look like? Puritan. Was that really freeing for anybody? Like, certainly wasn't freeing for women. And so we come here with this enmeshed power and control through the lens of you have to go to this third party outside of you for approval,
yeah.
permission, and direction.
Yeah.
So women have to be taught to doubt ourselves. We have to be taught our heart is wicked. Our body is completely evil and can throw men into chaos. Like we are
Mm,
told all these things and we have to fit into these little boxes that prop up and support the patriarchy through the men that we love.
yeah.
And it's murky because these are our fathers, our brothers, our husbands, our
Right.
sons. Like, this isn't so easy to just be like these men out here. It's like these are our men. And we
Yes.
actually really love them.
Yes.
And it's hard to love them and hate the system.
Yeah. Yeah,
So,
because they're also a product of the system. It's not like,
yeah,
quotes, their fault. It's part of their indoctrination as well. And it's interesting because I just watched this reel that Sam Skelly was making about how she was on a Christian podcast and they ended up not airing it because my whole witch wound is like clearly verklemting me. They ended up not airing it because breath work was a threat. And then I hear,
yeah,
because, I've been teaching Reiki for 26 years. I've been teaching breath work for 20 years. I've been teaching
mm,
Akashic record reading for 9 years. It's like none of
yeah,
these things are comfortable for
mhm,
specific religions that feel more comfortable being in control and having a middleman. And it's very threatening. Why is it threatening for someone to breathe?
right,
Why is it threatening for someone to have access to their own wisdom and knowing? Well, because then they're not controllable.
yeah.
They're expansive, they're powerful. We're so powerful.
Well, and I even wonder if, I mean, just to play ping pong here intellectually with you, but
Yeah.
I'm even wondering if it's because the origin story of things like yoga, breath work, energy healing actually come from peoples who were dominated and vilified by
Yeah.
white patriarchy.
Mhm.
And we put Christianity in everyone's facing that's the only way. So to go back and say, actually, there's wisdom here. Actually, this is really transformational. What I really believe is that a lot of the indigenous medicines and original peoples have the exact technology that can heal the white people who came in and were just
Well,
wiping the floor with everything.
and it reminds me also of the medical system because that's new. And
Yeah,
yet we say like medicine is, all of these things are alternative, quotes alternative.
yeah,
And actually it's all original. And, the insurance companies control,
yeah.
for the most part, what happens in the medical system. Well, a woman's body is meant to naturally birth. That's its job. It knows exactly how to do that. So why have we turned it into a business? I mean, it's
Mm.
interesting.
Hey, we're going to pause here for just a moment. What's the thing that's never getting better? The thing that keeps you up at night? The loop you can't seem to break free from? bring it to our Akashic record reading session. This isn't just a reading, it's a sacred conversation with your soul, with your team, your masters, teachers, and loved ones and guides. A place where the deepest parts of you are seen, heard, and understood. What happens in a session? You receive the clarity you've been searching for. You get the validation for what you've been feeling but couldn't quite name. You experience an energy clearing, releasing lower vibrational and stuck emotions so you can move forward lighter, freer, and more aligned. What if the answers you've been seeking are already waiting for you? In this space, you can finally breathe, release, and receive the relief you've been craving. One session or a package are available over Zoom from anywhere in the world. It's time to lift the weight off your heart. Say yes to clarity. Say yes to relief. Message me to book your Akashic record reading today. Link in the show notes. And we're back.
Not God, but the system. Like I was always
Yeah.
clear there was a very big difference between what I considered the divine and what was being shown and preached and created as a system. It just felt so, I was angry about that.
Yeah.
And I went through a period of time where I was very agnostic. Like I believe in God, but like I'm not entirely sure what that even means. But then when I
Yeah.
started to go through soul awakening and I started to explore the practices, I'm like, oh my gosh, like it's everything I was taught to fear. Everything. Because even breath work, it's doing drugs. It's trying to repeat DMT in your brain. Like you can just hear the script of like, even breath work is like letting spirits into your body. And I've just had such an interesting upbringing where discernment is something that Christians talk a lot about. Like you need to discern spirits, but no one's taught to discern spirits. And so, Siri, you know when something's off because you can know through your intuition, through your relationship to your body, through your relationship to energy. Because you move in all those landscapes, you know when it's off. That's actual discernment. But it's not actually taught in these contexts because to teach discernment is to acknowledge there are multiple energies at play.
Yeah, and it's also like just in schools, the fact that we're not taught how to think for ourselves. We are taught how to think the way the system wants you to think.
Yeah.
I didn't grow up with Christianity, so you're teaching me.
Okay.
I mean, I'm getting I get the kind of little bits and bobs here and there. I mean, my mom had the nuns like slapping her with the ruler.
Yeah.
So I get that, and also I get the whole priest molestation issue, like the repression
It's
that's there.
huge.
Yeah. But I also just feel like it's so seeped into the culture just in general,
Yeah.
that it's not just Christianity. I mean, because I'm half Jewish, there's like all the Jewish stuff that comes, that's ingrained in us, like the guilt and the why me and all of these things. So I think, religion, and I practice Buddhism, but like religion, there's certain quotes rules of the Buddhist religion that I practice that I'm not on board with because anytime, and I was born into a cult, like anytime there's like any sort of religious or a spiritual super organization with any sort of high demand, I think we're in trouble.
I agree. And I had an intuitive coach tell me, Peyton, you were raised in a cult. And I was like, oh no, like I was not. So then Amazon comes out with this documentary called Happy Shiny People.
Uh-huh.
And I have at least 10 friends tell me, Peyton, I thought of you in this documentary. And I'm just like,
Oh.
what? So I watch it. I have childhood friends interviewed in that particular show. And
Okay.
that really rocked me when I was like, yeah, we were part of fundamentalist Christianity, homeschooling, like infiltrate. I have friends of mine that architected Project 2025 from childhood. I'm not in contact necessarily anymore, but I'm like, oh my gosh, at every level, these Christian homeschoolers were programmed to take over politics, to infiltrate the system and propagate these particular belief systems in a way that you can make laws around. So
Hmm.
yeah, I mean, it's fascinating because my experience of that as a child with a I don't know that I want to throw this label on it, but with a very creative mom who was very overstimulated as a mother with five children under the age of six. It's a lot of children to birth, first of all,
Yeah.
and then to like homeschool and manage. I
Yeah.
found my way to cope was to just people please,
Of
stay under the
course.
radar.
Yeah.
And I'm not wrong for that, but what it created was this sense of if I'm to anything, I have a radar detector around me and
Yeah.
I will get in trouble. And whether
Yeah.
it was my mom or a teacher or whoever, like I just started to learn like people don't like you to be too loud, Peyton. They don't like you to talk too much. They don't like you to be wearing hot pink. They don't like you to do whatever it is.
Speak the
And
truth. Yeah.
and
Or observe what you're perceiving.
right.
Yeah.
And it just became really one giant trail of self-betrayal that felt like it was just the smartest thing to do.
Yeah, to survive. And so like you develop that hypervigilance.
Yes.
Yeah. And then also the oldest.
Hmm.
Being the oldest, because I'm also the oldest
Yeah.
as the woman. And so it's like the parentified child.
Yes.
Yeah.
I had a lot of rage with my young children. That was like one of my breaking points was
Oh,
not angry
me
at
too.
them,
Yeah.
but and then just so angry at myself for any
Yep.
time if I would raise my voice to them,
Yep.
I would just be like, God damn it, Peyton. Like you're being the thing that you said you would never do. Like, and
Yep.
then really having this like just breakdown around, oh my gosh, I'm resentful of motherhood because I raised my siblings. And of course my mom was
Mm-mm.
there and of course she was doing her best and she was showing up, but I was also driving. As soon as I could drive, I was driving everybody to their extracurriculars. Like I was getting them dressed for stuff. Like I was more on it and certainly in the more traditional gender role family that I was raised in, that was very much venerated. And the way I received praise was to rise
Right.
into
Oh, yeah.
motherhood. So
Yeah.
I did because I
Yeah.
needed all those words to tell me I was wonderful, special, and whatever I needed to hear to believe it was good. And then I just got angry when it was my turn to be a mom, like, oh, I've already done this.
Yeah.
I was just
I
like,
feel that. Oh my gosh. I feel that. And I never put it in that particular context.
yeah.
I thought I was gonna love motherhood.
Oh,
I
me
was gonna
too.
be so good at it because I'd already kind of done it already. I'd already practiced.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. And then when I didn't like always love it and it was so freaking hard and it was horrible a lot of the time, I was like so guilty and mad at myself. And
Hmm.
why can't I just be in the moment? Why can't I enjoy myself? Why can't I enjoy my children? My son turns 12 today, literally in 1 hour from now, Peyton. I birthed my 12-year-old
Wow.
12 years ago. I was home birthing him. And this morning I was crying because I was like, oh my God, I didn't spend enough time. I didn't do it right. I should have da da da. It's like all that empty nest stuff is already bubbling up.
Oh, wow.
I'm
Yeah.
already like, oh, I haven't done it right. I haven't spent enough quality time. Like, it's real.
Hmm.
Damn.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've got 5 and 8-year-old, and I continue to feel like, oh, this is a really sweet window of time where I'm not changing diapers. They're sleep trained. They're fun little humans with great brains that love to talk about cool things, and they actually want to
Oh,
spend time with me.
oh,
Do not miss this window. This is really special.
yes, yes,
And I
yes.
say that actually in an excited voice, not in a weighty, shameful, like one more thing to do.
No,
Because
I
for
believe you.
for
I
a very
hear
long
it.
time, I would sit there and just be like, why am I not better at this? Who lied to me about motherhood? Like, is this a giant scam? And I was running our company and I had all these little baby, not all these little babies, but two little babies felt like all these
All
little
the
babies.
little babies, it felt like, yeah. Well, because your clients are your babies too, in one
Yeah.
sense. You're like caretaking them in one
Right. And there's
sense.
hundreds of them at large. And you're just like, I can't, I mean, I would even have guilt like walking downtown because I'd be like seeing clients because we had a brick and mortar fitness facilities and which
Oh,
is a hybrid of physical therapy that we dressed up to look like fitness, but essentially to help people with pain management and longevity. So a lot of our
wow.
clients are out there and they would all come up to me and be like, and this would just drive me nuts because I would go into the office and everybody would go, where are your children? And
Ugh.
I would just be like, I'd ask my husband, this has been like going on for like 8 months. And I'm like, Michael, does anyone ever ask you where your children are? And he's like, no. So I finally just started getting snarky and being like, oh, I left them in the car. Thanks for
Right,
the reminder. I must have forgotten them. Dang it. If it
right.
hadn't been for you asking me, I would have never, you know?
Yeah.
And then,
Yeah.
anyways,
And then if
yeah,
they see your husband with the kids, they're like, "Oh my gosh, he's such a hero."
he's such a good babysitter. And you're just like, they're his children. So,
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay,
and that was a hard time.
I do have questions for you. So,
Sure.
how did your spiritual awakening shift?
Mm,
And I don't even know when you would consider your spirit, because I feel like we're always spiritually awakening, but whenever you
yeah.
want to pinpoint,
Oh, I have a dramatic one.
okay, so that catalyst, how did that catalyst shift the way that you approach both business and motherhood?
Huge difference. So again, coming from the heavy programming of good girl syndrome and people pleaser, who was in the top 2% of female entrepreneurs, which made me feel like I had done something exciting.
Yeah,
And
that's
I was
amazing.
like, okay, I've arrived at what I needed to do to prove to myself I was good enough in business. Like I had checked those little boxes and I felt like I had achieved whatever that is. If anyone would have asked me literally at 2 p.m. on a Wednesday in November 2020 how I was doing, I would have said, I'm fine with the fakest smile of all time. Any
Mm,
energy intuitive would have been like, yeah, right. But I
mm,
believed my own self. I
mm-hmm.
believed my own lie. I remember blacking out, or not blacking out, zoning out at my screen from 2 to 4 p.m. because that's what I would always do. I
Okay.
would be so burned out and such an adrenal fatigue
Yeah.
and almost autoimmune Hashimoto's disease. Like I was one blood work marker away from being full diagnosed. I
Okay.
was not doing well physically. And I was so
Wait, how
exhausted.
old were you?
I was 34 when this happened.
Okay, got it.
And so I remember just being like, oh my gosh, how is it 4 o'clock? I'm already late for the babysitter. I'm driving to the babysitter. I literally fall asleep at the wheel, almost hit a car
Oh,
and a tree.
oh my God.
Somehow correct. My first thought is, oh, I hope no one saw me. I'm like, oh my gosh, like get to my house. Goodbye, nanny. And like pretend everything's fine. Get to the kitchen. I have an 8-month-old and a 3.5-year-old. And I don't remember falling. I just remember waking up on the floor of my kitchen, looking up at the ceiling, wondering where I was.
Oh
I
shit.
don't even know how long I was out. My kids can't really even tell me. They sort of remember. I just remember I couldn't move my arms and I couldn't move my legs. I could talk, so I tried to convince my kids that I was playing a game with them, and tears are just
Oh,
rolling down my face because I am freaking out that my body just stopped working and I
whoa.
have a really big health crisis on my hands. So that got my attention.
Yeah.
At this moment in time, I'm actually in a group coaching program by one of my amazing teachers in this lifetime, Allison Bird, and she in a group called Soul Sessions, which I didn't even know what that meant. I just knew I had to sign up for whatever she was doing.
Okay.
And she had told me, Paden, you need to go on a soul adventure.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, but I just collapsed. Like, I've got blood work coming in with my doctors and naturopaths. Like, we're going to handle it with supplements. Like,
Mm,
I'm going to figure this out. It's probably just sleep. It's probably just working too hard, blah, blah, blah. I've burned out every 6 months for 10 years. Like, this should be normal, right?
mm,
And she's like, something else is bigger going on. So I go to the place she suggested called Sedona Soul Adventure. Highly recommend in Sedona for an
mm,
entire week by myself. I have never left my children before. I
mm.
am like, I mean, that's not true. I did do CEO masterminds where we would have overnights once in a
Sure.
while, but it
But this
wasn't
was like
very
a
often.
week. Yeah.
It was a week. Had
Yeah.
never been that long. And I just remember thinking I was going to go meet therapists and not knowing the term healer at all. Like, and
Okay.
so I show up on the scene thinking I'm meeting with like, I'm going to do like 5 hours of immersive therapy. And I am like that CEO type A control freak woman who is like going to handle her shit in 5 days.
Uh-huh.
I sit down, ready to just be like, everything that's wrong with me, just hit me with it. Like, I'm gonna like fully bulldoze my self-healing journey like a freaking A player. Like, I'm so in the masculine, in that wounded space. I don't even know that's what it is. And I just meet with these people, and All of them are healers and intuitives and gurus from so many different walks of life, from so many different schools of thought. And they helped me piece myself back together in those 5 days and really understand for the first time that I'm a highly sensitive neurodivergent person. And I had
Uh,
never heard any of those terms before.
yeah.
I just thought I was really screwed up.
Okay.
Didn't have, I was so high functioning in some ways,
Yes.
heavy masker in other ways, but inside, the amount of labor that it took for me to show up in the world
Yeah.
as normal was so beyond exhausting, and I had never even considered that that was possible.
Wow. Wow. Amazing.
So, and yeah, so that from that point, what came out of that journey was, and it blurted out of my own mouth, was my marching orders was, I need to spend 2 hours every day alone. And at
Right.
that time, I was horrified by that. I thought
Sure.
people who could do personal sabbaticals were weird. I didn't understand how I could enjoy time alone. I thought if I ever got alone, I would just watch movies and read books to escape myself because I didn't like myself. But I wouldn't have even articulated that because that would have felt stupid to say. So I would have just never said it and just known it.
Mm.
So to blurt, spend 2 hours a day alone, I was like, I don't even know how I'm going to do it. And my intuition
Wow.
dropped in. Well, you are zoning out at your computer screen from 2 to 4 p.m. and nobody even knows.
Ah.
So you actually have the 2 hours because you're in
Yeah.
such a place of burnout. You
Yeah.
actually do have the time
Yeah.
if you're courageous enough to claim it.
Right.
And so I started taking 2 hours a day every day for myself. I gave myself 21 days to reboot. And it so radically shifted myself, my self-compassion, my enjoyment of nature. Like I got myself back. And I pretty much by day 8 told my husband, there's no way I'm ever giving this up.
What did you do during those 2 hours specifically?
Well, at first, true honesty, at first I had figured out that since I was neurodivergent or HSP, then that must mean I have this cognitive superpower.
Mm-hmm.
So at first I gamified it and then tried to perform because that's what I knew how to do.
Uh-huh.
And so I
Yeah.
was like, oh, there's a thing called intuition. That's my actual flex. And I have atrophied this, so I've got to double down. So at
Uh-huh.
first I spent my 2 hours trying to like catch up on all the meditation spaces and all the like
Okay.
third eye openers I could possibly do and like really try to just like expose myself to everything. And then I caught myself about it was still productive in the sense that what was healing me was choosing me,
Mm.
prioritizing me and not putting myself on the back burner. That alone didn't even matter what I did. That was
Mm.
incredibly healing. But once I realized I was performing for my healing, I was sort of like, okay, that's the opposite of what you're trying to do. You're actually just trying to take pressure off your soul to stop having to do anything. That's actually what your soul needs and is desperate for is space. So then I just started to go, I got to be outside in nature because when I'm in nature, nothing feels stressful, nothing feels chaotic.
Yeah.
And I look around nature and everything's perfect. The bees are happy, the birds
Yeah.
are singing, everything's blooming. And
Yeah.
and all of the things that feel so important feel like they just get put back into their place of really not that important.
Yeah. I literally just did a long walk through nature, which I don't do very often during the middle
Mhm.
of the day, but it must have been in preparation for you.
Oh my gosh, that's beautiful. Yeah, I would say being in nature with no agenda and nowhere to be, which was the magic of the 2 hours. And I've had so many people be like, oh God, Peyton, like 2 hours. Like, I'm so triggered hearing you say that. And I'm like, yes, I was too. I was
Mm.
full trigger around the whole thing.
Yeah,
But,
but like, look at how often we're on our phone. Like, what are
right,
scrolling our phone? Like, come on.
right. And I would find that if I couldn't make it happen during the day, I could do it from 8 to 10 p.m. every night. And even though it's not ideal, I could find that window where I would Netflix and not even chill because I wouldn't have energy for that. I would just be
Sure.
like, let me just Netflix and zone out. Instead, I would put on music and go into my kitchen and dance
Yes, I
in
love
the
it.
dark
I love
with a
it.
candle on, maybe.
Oh,
And
that's
it just
awesome.
brought me back home to so many things that are now what I know to be is very feminine and really reconnected me to. Oh my gosh, my body was so wise and it knew the only way to get my attention was to collapse.
Yeah.
And then to get real esoteric with you, I
Hmm.
experienced a soul walk-in when I collapsed on the floor, and no one really talks about that.
Yeah, talk about it.
So the way I understand it, and I didn't understand this till years later, but what I would say is the woman who collapsed on that floor is not exactly the woman who woke up. From a subtle spiritual openness is the way I experienced it. All of a sudden things that I would have never been open to and would have judged as evil, wrong, and dark, I
Hmm.
started to go, what if actually that was part of the lie? What
Wow.
if it's not dark? What if it's mysterious, but it holds magic? What if that magic has the power to heal
Hmm.
me and doesn't threaten anything? What if it actually is what Jesus was trying to teach that whole freaking time? But
Right.
everybody didn't want that because you can't have a bunch of intuitive people going around interpreting the word of God when you want to control and monetize them.
Yes.
So that's a problem. And I
Yeah.
started to just really experience a much more open energy around what my mind was available for, and the curiosity that was never there before started to show up. Now, a soul walk-in, from my understanding, isn't a different energy taking over my body that I call conscious or coercive control. That is not a positive thing most of the time, or it's a trans channel thing.
Hmm.
That's not what I experienced. I just
Hmm.
experienced a more elevated version of my soul. And there was a soul contract in place that should it ever get to this point, I would have, at a contract level, agree
To
to pass
terminate.
out
Yeah. Okay.
and to come back in a different energetic of openness and really curious about spiritual mastery.
Wow. Woo.
It's wild because if we hear people we hear about near death experiences where people black out or have like some consciousness is
Yeah.
down and then it reboots
Yeah.
and they experience life totally differently. And that is exactly what I experienced.
Interesting. Yeah, when you call it a reboot, that just clicks right in. I go, oh yeah. Yeah, you got to shut it down. You got to unplug.
Yeah.
And the whole new operating system came through.
Completely. And obviously, my human didn't totally feel that. But years later, when I was working with an intuitive around karmic clearing and understanding the Akashic records, she said, oh, I'm just getting a sense that, and it was with a group of a few of us. She's like, I'm getting a sense that some of you have had experienced a walk-in. And I instantly got full chills, which was my body's,
Yeah.
one of the ways to be like, this is for you. She's not talking to someone else, she's talking to you. And I got a full yes. And then I started to go into like my soul conversations with myself, like, okay, help me understand what it is. Is this okay? Is this a good version of me? Like, let me be discerning
Mm.
about that. Is
Mm.
this higher quality? Like, what is this giving me access to? And it just felt like, it's funny in numerology, I have the choice to be a life path 33, but otherwise I'm a life path 6. A life path 6 is about unconditional love of self, of nature, like and really a restorative energy that just wants to be in balance. Like my soul wants that. Life path 33 is, do you want to go be spiritual teacher? Do you want to go in and bring technology forward in a sense of where's humanity in ascension, and do you want to be at the forefront of that? And I feel like that was my soul going, you have that choice now. If you want to open it, it's available.
Wow. That's amazing. And in human design, the three and the six are very, very similar. It's just the six is like the evolution of the three.
Yeah.
That's so fascinating. I never heard of a soul walk-in.
Well, I know it's not talked about very much because it sounds weird. Like
I
it's sort of like, I
I'm
mean,
surprised because I feel like I've heard of most things, and that's like, woo, ping. Okay.
which is funny. I don't normally bring that up in podcasts, but I kind of got like, just say it. Like, Siri's here for it. Let's
I'm here
go.
for it. Yeah, I mean, I had kind of a near-death experience, and it's interesting. I don't know if I completely upgraded like you did. I think I would know if I did. But it sounds incredible in the fact that look at you now, you're almost completely opposite to who you were in one
Yeah.
sense. Or maybe you're just more of who you were always meant to be, I
Yeah.
guess.
And it is that because I think a lot of us atrophy the parts of us that we weren't able to express. And so we become a different version of ourselves.
Mm.
And then our soul whispers, whispers, and then it starts to raise its voice, and then it just face plants you somewhere in the kitchen, wherever it needs to get your attention. And then you get to go, okay, who am I now? And like, do I want to go back to the parts of me that I atrophied? And the parts I had atrophied was the creative.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm curious about so many things. Like, I want to know more because in the beginning we kind of touched on it, but I want to know more about this powerful, kind of witchy, spiritual woman, like 100% woo woman. How do you overcome the feeling that you're gonna get in trouble,
Mm,
that you're that people pleaser hypervigilance, like, oh shit, now is everyone gonna hate me, or I'm in trouble again, or I said the truth and now, or I triggered that group of people or that one person and now they're hating me, or now I saw your post, now they're putting a psychic attack on me. Like, how do
mhm.
you deal with all that?
So, okay, I think you'll appreciate my answer because it was a very present wound. I have had a serious sisterhood wound and a witch wound
Yeah,
and a visibility wound and
yeah,
all the wounds that have to do with when I share my magic, people I love die and I can't protect them. I mean, that's like an
yeah,
actual soul level real thing for me. When I
yeah,
got into my Akashic records
yeah,
and I started to if really kind of like excavate where my soul's journey has been,
yeah,
it crystallized everything for me. Because what I realized was my soul had gifted me a deep continuation in this lifetime of the work that I had been about in thousands of past lives. Not
right.
a few, thousands of past lives. And I saw the torture and I saw the death and I saw my children being tortured in front of me. Like, and I saw
Mm,
me being
mm,
burned at the stake so many times. And I
mm,
saw all of the ways that I had been thrown and cast out of society in so many lifetimes as this horrible, evil, wicked human
yes,
who was just wanting to bear light in the world and be in an energy of truth.
yeah,
And what felt most true was that my soul had incarnated here, predominantly in my family of origin, predominantly all of them, except for one, have killed me in many past lives. They were actually the ones who had done this. And
wow,
I got drop kicked into that family because it was time for me to really face, are you going to be your real self or are you going to continue to shirk and hide and stay safe? Because the fears were all real. And I think I needed to go into past lives to really understand, who are you? And also, I have really funny spirit guides. I do. And just like even a few months ago, they were showing me this visual of how every time I think I'm being my most authentic self, I get gifted these hysterical visuals of like a couple months ago, it was, you're this lioness who, and the visual they showed me was like, you're trying to wear a house cat costume. And
mm,
it was so ridiculous. And I was laughing, looking at this beautiful, strong, fierce lioness trying to fit into people's living rooms as a little small house cat who barely mews. And I was being shown you're still in a place where you have more power, you have more punch to you. Are you willing to be that full version of you? And I'm still to this day getting pushed even deeper, even more. And so I don't know. I will say that at some point there was a really powerful mushroom medicine
I
journey
was
I
literally
found.
just gonna, as soon as you paused, I was gonna
Yeah.
say that's when I've experienced what you're talking about.
Yes.
That
Okay.
that gap between knowing the full power, which is huge, and seeing where I am. And so many women have told me about the wings, but
Mm,
like I'm a bird and the wings are like all closed in, but you're like aware that the wings are these massive, powerful wings, and you just don't feel like you can open them.
yeah. Oh, I've been told the same thing. You have a clipped wing. That was a few years ago. And I was like, how do I unclip this thing? Like, is it a motion that I need to do? And ultimately, like, I just think that I think we're gifted decisions. Like, I really don't think we're wrong if we choose, I'd like to be safe in this lifetime. Like, I just want to say, I don't think that's wrong if your soul really needs a lifetime of safety.
Mm.
And I thought about that for a while. I was like, I really could be safe. Like the business I built in my 20s and 30s pays for our bills. I don't even have to make a dollar and it's fine. I don't have to like, why? Why would I put myself out there? Like my kids have literally died because in past lives because I have chosen to be magical. Why would I do that to myself again?
Wow.
And then I'd have to like hold my nervous system body and be like, this lifetime is different. And
Wow.
you do have a choice and you're not wrong for it. And it just was that permission to go, okay, I'm not wrong for it. But I know I'm gonna go past 33. I know it. Like, I know it. Like, my soul said, yes, take this girl out if she gets too wild in her masculine. Take her out, swap it out. Let's get her back online. And I love it. So it's a choice. And I feel as though my family does not understand it. And I also feel like that's okay because my soul chose all of that. And their souls did too. And maybe their souls agreed to come back so I could stand in
Mm.
this, and that was
And
part
do
of
it
what,
different this time. Yeah.
yeah. And that's the gift in a way that they get to give me. So,
When you say your family doesn't understand it, do you mean like your children and your husband, or do you mean like
oh
your
no,
parents?
good clarification. My husband knows I'm magical and
Yeah.
he loves it.
Yeah.
And also is a current resident skeptic who needs to intellectualize everything that comes out of my mouth. And sometimes I really don't have intellectual answers for the stuff that comes out of my mouth. And we just have to sit in that ambiguity.
Mm.
And me just trust that like I'm not here to lead his spiritual path. Like he is fully sovereign of his path. And it gets to be great for him to be in wherever he is. My
I
kids,
love that. I love that. Because so many women who are in your capabilities
hmm.
feel that they need to lead their partner. So
Well, let
thank you
me
for
not
saying
stand
that.
on a pedestal on that because I fully did think that I was his gift, his soul for a solid 2 years and couldn't understand why he wasn't like lapping it up and so grateful. And it was like this place of where my self-doubt would start to come in where I'm like, but I know these things. And it was like, yes, but you aren't the one who's going to bring that to him.
Right.
That gets to be his thing. So I have released that um in the last few years, but the first few years I very much thought, well, I'm here and I did this so you could come with me. And he was like,
Mm.
no, girl. Also, side note, that dude has been my spirit guide in so many of my past lives.
Wow.
Fascinating that he has only incarnated 9 lifetimes. The rest, he has been a spirit guide. So
He's like a
he
cat.
Right.
Nine
So
months.
it's like, so it's funny that he's in the human body is like what he is interested in this life in studying and in fitness and therapy. And it makes total sense because his soul has watched humans and hasn't gotten to be one in many lifetimes. So
Oh,
he's
wow.
fascinated by the human body. And so I have to sit back and be like, he's wise too. He has sat and watched very mystical, particularly women, get killed for their magic. So, yes, he has fear because he's witnessed this, but he also has wisdom because he's seen how it can work. So,
Mm.
anyways, yeah, my
Bless,
family is,
bless, bless, bless. I'm gonna sing bless him.
yeah, he's awesome. And I will say, like, I'm really grateful that he was so patient with me because we both come from very religious families, and I was very much like antagonized by religion and really
Yeah.
had a lot of healing around that
Mm.
and have a lot of and as much as I want to say I'm healed around religion, I still have fire in my belly about how religion messes things up. And so
Hmm.
I also consider that sacred. But, he doesn't have the same trauma I have around spirituality because he wasn't a pastor's kid. Like, there's a whole different level of pressure put on you just by who your parent is and proximity to that greatness that you're just like, okay, I've been performing for it all, for God, for whatever. Like, and so he didn't have any of that. And he reminds me, like, even when I teach my kids what I hold to be true, what's so important to me is to always say, this is what mom believes, and you
Mm.
don't have to believe this.
That's really good. Yeah. You're giving that autonomy and that sovereignty of like, this is my way, but you don't have to adopt just because I'm your parent what I do or what I think or how I think. That's really important to remember that.
Yeah. I mean, because I feel like I'm so opinionated and I was raised in a very black and white controlling environment. So essentially, I am programmed, whether I like this, and it's certainly not flattering, I am very programmed to buy into dogmatic thinking.
Right.
I have been taught that from the moment my little neuroplastic brain was on planet Earth. I was taught one way. And so it's this really good ego check.
Oh, question for you. In human
Yeah.
design, are you open up here? The
Yes.
ajna and the crown, is it open?
Yes, in human design, it's open. But I mean, I had to pretend it wasn't because anytime I asked questions that were problematic in the family, it could create tension
Like,
and weird
psh,
dynamics
shut
and a
you
full
down.
shutdown. And so I was like, oh, this part, this open-minded stuff, this isn't working for people. This causes me to be othered. So I can't do that. But
Yeah.
now, yeah, it's a very playful place. So, but with my kids, I think that's the big thing. And even when I like do prayer protections over them and we balance their chakras before bed and we do all these beautiful energy healings
Oh
before
my gosh,
bed,
that's so cool.
it's so sweet because they got so many psychic attacks. And it's like, I,
They
I,
did?
yes. And this cringe, okay, I'm going to tell you, when I go on TikTok and I see parents laughing and posting videos of their kids having nightmares, every part of my body is in a total shutdown because I'm like, no, they're actually really intuitive and they just got attacked. And what you're
Yeah.
witnessing isn't them sleepwalking, actually. It's them in a space where they can't communicate the trauma that's going on in their energy body.
Oh, wow.
And I would see that in my kids. And I remember as a kid having tons of psychic attacks. I remember when I turned my gifts off as a kid because I was paralyzed in a dream by a demon. And I thought, this is really scary. I can't even call for help in my dream. And it scared me. And I remember being like, this isn't safe.
Yep.
And so with my kids, I've received the message that part of my mission as their mom, and I believe this for a lot of our listeners or whoever is tuning in, like if you are spiritual and tapped in, like, and you have little babies, chances are they are too. And part
Mm.
of what we get to be is protectors and make it safe for them to have imaginary friends or safe for them to believe Harry Potter's real or the Force is real in Star Wars, because I kind of believe it all is as well.
Yeah.
And so, like, letting that be safe. But also in their dream space, they're particularly vulnerable. So I will offer up those healings to them, but they have a choice every night.
Yeah, during that younger, I feel like, is it like maybe age 3 to age 10? It's a lot of remembrance of past lives too, right? The
Yes.
trauma from past lives.
Yes.
I certainly had that.
Yeah.
My kids have that. My
It's huge.
youngest for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, and I used to think it was just my oldest daughter because when I will never forget when she would wake up screaming in the middle of the
Hmm.
night and told me that a dark black crow was pecking out her forehead and
Hmm.
then crushing her chest and she couldn't breathe. I'm like, that's literally textbook psychic attack right there.
Wow.
Pecking out her third eye. That's so tragic.
Okay, can I just tell you, Bodhi, my youngest, he used to have what he named Black Spider.
Mm,
And so he would say it's Black Spider. And he would wake up in the middle of the night and he was so dysregulated. And the only thing we could do to calm him down was put Cars,
mm,
the Pixar movie Cars, to keep him from going, ah, 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 just over, not in his body. And
right.
he would say it's Black Spider, and he would like bang his head
Hmm.
against the back of his,
Mm,
what do you call it, his high chair, just bang his
mm.
head, or he'd just be like, ah, 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 and do this sound. I don't want to keep for the listeners, but repetitive screaming sound, and he called it Black Spider. And
Yeah,
so I was like, okay, Black Spider, you're not welcome here.
right. Yeah.
Yeah. And he would tell
And
Black Spider to go away. And now, before bed, what he does is he'll say, he's like, "Mommy, what's that thing I can say again?" And he says every night before bed, "Subconscious, have good dreams."
I love that.
He loves saying it.
Yeah. I will tell my kids, I repeat after, if you're open to it, because you don't have to, and you're not wrong if you say no. But if you would like me to support you, I'm here. And we'll always call on Archangel Raphael and we'll pull energies out of our body. We'll balance all of our chakras so that now they know all their chakras and like what the energy is for them. And I'll ask them to confirm if it's clear. Because I just believe like kids are just so open. I'm like, how
Yes.
is your solar plexus? My daughter will go, it's not clear yet. I need more energy.
Oh,
Like it's clear now. And we'll do that. And at the end, we'll do bubbles of protection. Well, then my
yes.
son woke up from a nightmare,
Hmm.
an attack of some kind, and was saying, Mom, we've got to leave now. Go. And he was trying to push me out of my bed and pull
Oh,
me out of my bed. And so I'm like, oh,
yes.
he's fully remembering because we've had many past
Yes.
lives together.
Yes. Yes.
And I'm like, oh, he's having this visceral memory. How can I just hold him and get him back in his body,
Yeah.
remembering he's safe?
Yes. That's the first
And
thing I'll say. I'll get, you're safe.
right,
If I
like you're
even
so
hear like
safe.
a murmur, like the first, now I'm like, you're safe.
Right, you're safe. This is the lifetime you get to be safe. I know it's scary and you're not wrong for seeing this, for feeling this. This isn't crazy of you. This is real. Like you're so tuned in. And then he told me the next morning, he said, Mom, I don't believe in the bubble of protection anymore.
Oh no.
And I was like mortified, right? Because I'm like, I'm teaching people how to do this stuff. Like my own kid doesn't even believe in this. So
Yeah.
at this time, I have an ancestor who's a Romani Jewish ancestor of mine who has come to me in spirit and has said she'll mentor me. And I wake up at 4 a.m. every day and like go through like what she's going to teach me that was lost in my lineage because it wasn't safe to bring these gifts forward. And I remember going to her and being like, okay, Shirva, what do I do about my son? And she taught me a different prayer and taught me to ask Spider Woman, which
Oh.
comes from an indigenous American belief around the weaving and the dream weaver, right? Like it's from the
Mm.
spider. And she says, I want you to use your fingers. And for the listeners, I'm kind of making my fingertips look like I'm weaving a web around. And I want you to weave a web over the children and tell them, speak these words over them and have them speak it themselves. Since then, it's been fine. So basically, I was called to upgrade my software.
Okay.
And it's
Another
just
upgrade.
I mean, honestly, it's so fun to talk about this with sisters that get it because I just have to appreciate the humanness of how this would sound so ridiculous to me 5 years ago.
I love it too. I love being able to hear all of this because it's so validating, right?
Yeah.
And then it just the more we talk about it, the more with each other it comes online. And then the more the listeners are like, oh yeah, wait a minute, I did know that thing, or I have that too, or oh, that all starts to make sense. And it just comes into our forefront what maybe we're squashing down that we
Yeah.
already know. And there's so much invalidation, right? And I imagine you do that with your clients where you're like, a lot of it's just like, let's drop the invalidation.
Oh, huge. And what has been a major ego death and skill set rebirth for me was not centering my knowing.
Yeah.
Because as a business consultant, which is what I was before I helped my husband build his
Yes.
business,
Yeah.
I worked with 8, 9 figure CEOs,
Yeah.
and I would always feel this pressure to be the smartest person in the room and to have these answers.
Mm-hmm.
And I have realized as an intuitive coach, the I actually am not responsible for their healing. I'm not responsible for their breakthrough. They don't really need me outside of I get to just be there to hold space and
Mm-hmm.
get them in a presence
Mm-hmm.
to mind their own magic.
Mm.
And it's
Yes.
always there and they always know.
Yes. 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 I love
It's
it.
so powerful. It feels like a true gift, honestly, to be able to witness people feeling their actual answers from within them.
That's the best.
It is.
You're liberating.
Yeah,
It's beautiful work.
it is. Thank you.
You're welcome. So, your favorite thing to do? What's that right now? What's your favorite thing?
Okay, right now I'm really loving my Wednesdays
Oh
because
yeah, I've been hearing you talk about this. Your Wednesday fasting, which is
yes,
I'm starting to go like, oh, maybe I need to do that. I just did like a six
right.
day juice cleanse, and I do
Hmm.
that like every like maybe every spring I'll do like maybe a 6 or 7, or I used to do 10-day juice cleanse. But I like
Amazing.
how you're integrating. You're
Yeah.
like, let's make this a ritual on the weekly.
Yeah, I felt so led was like you have to like your content has to be with cleaner energy. Not that it was
Right.
bad before, but just it like wasn't I have, and all of us actually have the ability to really get into a deep space of what wants to be said through my consciousness and what is the moment, that what's the message for the moment. And I kept getting like, I just want my creative wants a whole day to create. Like I
Mm-hmm.
just love that. I crave that. I want hours. I can't do 30-minute anythings. It has to be 4 hours of no interruption for me to fully get in to the
Love it.
magic.
Love
And
it.
I just kept getting, okay, also you want to live to 104, also longevity. You're 38. It's not too soon. Get going, girl. And I just kept being like, I know that supported fasting every week is better. Intermittent fasting makes me crabby. Doing prolonged fasts is really tough with kids, and it's really hard for me to be joyful while cooking them food while I'm starving.
Mm,
So it's just the humanness of my season of life. And I
sure.
kept being like, take your Wednesdays, block your calendar, make it your creative day. Just have a cup of bone broth with lunch and a cup of bone
Yes.
broth at dinner. Like, so
Yes.
give your body some nutrients, keep it under
Yes.
50 calories per, sit down. And then take magic mushrooms, a small dose,
Hmm.
to really get into that fun, creative space. And that's what I've been
Is it
doing.
like 0.15 or is it like 0.2 or
Yeah, it's like point. I would say it's like if a microdose is like point 0.1, I'm probably doing about point 0.2, and I'm really not
okay.
even measuring it at this point. Even though this last time I did more because I really wanted to try when I had grown myself.
Oh,
And so
wow.
then I was really getting
That's
into
so
that.
cool.
It was so fun. I have heard people be like, there's no medicine better for you than the one you grow yourself because the mycelium, probably saying that wrong, is
Mycelium?
mycelium,
Yeah.
thank you. They're actually listening to
Wow.
what's happening in your home. They're tuned into the
Ooh, it's like
energy.
breast milk
Yes,
of the
it's
earth.
it's divine breast milk. Oh, I love that. Yeah. So it's fully like programmed in for what I need. And then the other day I was like, I'm just gonna take a teeny little small one. It ended up being like a half gram,
Okay.
which is a decent
A
a
lot.
decent for me.
Uh-huh.
And I dropped right in. I had a major epiphany around money. Money came to me and like talked to me, and we were having this whole
Nice.
discussion. And
Nice.
then I was able to feel how I'm supposed to be doing grid work on my land, and I don't even know what grid work is. And it's showing me what grid work is and how to
Huh?
do it. And I'm like, okay, I'll do it on Wednesdays. So on Wednesdays, I'm supposed to clean energy off humanity using
Okay.
my physical vessel to like really like process a lot of humanity's pain, and I'm supposed to do grid work and make
Wow.
content and be my magical self, and it is the
Yes.
best day of my week.
Oh my gosh. Now it's gonna just have to turn into like Wednesdays and Thursdays. I mean, come
Right.
on.
Right. I'm
This
like,
sounds so joyful.
it's so joyful and it's so like so liberating to find this beauty and joy in the things that I have held so much judgment and weirdness
Right.
around.
Yes, 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 yes,
And
yes.
just go, why? Why? Of
Like
course
at the
it's
end of your life, is someone gonna be like, well, you followed all the rules. Good job, Peyton. Like, no one's
yeah,
freaking watching. No one cares. Why?
right.
It's like, why do we put these clamps on ourselves?
Totally. And I've just found safety. Now, I think plant medicine is a very personal journey. And I think
Yes.
that there is, what I will say is if anyone feels an aversion to it at a soul level, that probably means you shouldn't go into spaces where you're so open in your consciousness because in past lives, you've probably had that been taken advantage of you.
Mm.
And there's reasons, so follow it. Some of my friends are like, I'm not called to it because I
Right.
know that in those transported states, I've actually experienced a dark energy or I've
Mm,
experienced an attachment that has
mm,
really caused harm.
mm.
So I always just say, like, follow it. Like, you're either called to it or you're not. And the thing is like, it could be breath. For some of my friends, it's breath work. And they're like, oh my gosh, like, it
That's
is the
me. Yeah.
most.
Yeah.
And they get stuff out of it. I do it and I'm like, what? My friend's orgasming next to me. And I'm
Oh,
just like,
that's me. That's me.
what?
I know breath work is orga always like if I have a good breath work session by myself, it's like we're gonna orgasm because that's
Yeah.
just what it is for me. Yeah.
Totally. And I feel like for me, it's earth medicine. And so,
Yes.
and to each our own. Some people it's sound healing, and it's like that's just like
Right.
right reverberating through them, and it's all good. It's just we got to explore and find and play with what is the predictable environment that really gives me access to this cosmic magic that I'm here to experience and express.
And that makes you feel the most you. The most
Yeah.
that's what it is for me. It's like this makes me feel me
Yeah.
and expansive me.
Yes.
Yeah.
I will say what mushrooms has given me is a real merge with the divine in my blueprint. Like can feel like I know mother love, divine feminine love through and it allows me to see the ways in which I already bring that forward and to love that part of myself so much more as divinity experiencing itself. Like I feel like it has shown me those incredible places where it's magic. It's not
Yes.
just a personality. It's not
Yes.
just something people notice. And I'm in human design, I'm a 2/4,
Oh
which is
yeah.
sort of like that hermit genius type that doesn't even know what they're doing is cool. Truly. Half the time I have no idea if that anything I'm doing is good for anyone because I just need my people to reflect it back to me like, oh, Peyton, you know that thing you think is normal? It's not normal, but it's cool. You know that thing you're doing that you think everyone can do? That's actually a beautiful gift you get to bring the world, like, and it's so powerful to have that reflected back. So,
I feel you on the magic of the mushrooms and how it can just simplify the truth. And the
mm,
truth in a way that's like not a truth that you would normally have a perspective of.
yeah.
Yeah, it's really deeply powerful. And after talking with Heidi recently, because we did a whole episode about mushrooms, I'm like, okay, I was just doing too much
Oh,
when I was
yeah.
playing around with it, is what she said to me. It was
Could
like
be.
she was like, I think you're just taking too much. Like it's actually like in because I was trying to feel what a macrodose kind of I was trying to like get the macrodose kind of feel of it, but she's like, you don't need to really feel like you taking it. You can just be normal in your day. So maybe I'm gonna play around with it a little bit.
Yeah, Heidi's a great resource for that. And she's
Yeah.
just, yeah, to plug her for a hot second, she just released a microdosing program.
Yeah.
Heidi Stevens, one of our friends, she's amazing. And she really is good at helping people kind of gently find the right experience. In my human design, I have the rhythm channel is one of my two channels. There's charisma and rhythm. That's all we have time and space for. But the rhythm channel is the queen, the girl who dances in the extremes. It's like I love form and structure, and I love to go like full, like what is the marrow out of life that I'm here to suck? And the first time I did mushrooms, I remember, and I was talking to a mutual friend of ours, Dana, and
Dana Schmidt.
yeah, she lives in my town and we're buddies. But
Oh yeah, because she was like Peyton when
yes.
she saw yeah.
Yeah, and she was like, "Oh, here's a great resource for mushrooms. I'd never done them before." My soul was like, you need to do mushrooms." And I remember grabbing a bag of gummies and going to like do this journey with myself. No
Yeah.
facilitators, like zero
Yeah.
fear. Like I'm
Yeah.
just experienced, like my soul knows this to be a safe environment for me.
Hmm.
And I trust my body, and my body's like, you
Hmm.
need these mushrooms. And I have this bag, and it's like, take the whole bag. And I am like, what? Like, what does that even mean? And I know this is going to sound wildly irresponsible to many, and I don't. I felt so aligned in it. I did. Within 20 minutes of taking it, I drop right into a complete merge with the divine feminine mother energy, and I feel all of the pain of humanity, and
Yep.
I feel how much the divine loves all the children. And I get this super sweet download of, Peyton, you're so focused on women and girls, but don't forget the boys. Do not leave the boys out,
Mhm.
because the divine feminine needs them to protect and provide. The divine feminine needs them. They provide so much beautiful structure. Don't forget the boys. And it was like
Yeah.
this deep, profound journey. And I came right out of it. It was like I took it at 9 in the morning. By 1:30, I was lucid again. And I was just
Wow.
enjoying the rest of my day. And I tell people that story and they're just like, what? Like, how would you just do that? And I'm like, I don't know. That's the part of me that is just extreme. But it was beautiful and I wouldn't have done it any way differently. So for others, you just got to trust what's right for you. And I had to go big the first time and I loved it.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely feel like that's unique for you in terms of being able to trust in that way. I have done a journey by myself, and I did have a kind of similar experience where I was in a bathtub and it was like, I'm a mermaid and I'm birthing for humanity, and nothing matters except the trees. And, you don't need to create any of the things that you're creating. They don't, but like that, those kind of downloads. And also, I knew that the kids were coming home. So I
Mm,
kept like having to check the time. And I
yeah.
was like, okay, I'm actually never going to do that again. So it's really impressive that you were like able to drop in and then come straight out like that. Because for me, it's like, I gotta have someone hold the structure if I'm going to do this in the way that I want to do it. So I'm not having to like hold the structure for myself.
That's huge. That is huge.
Okay, I don't even know how, okay, how long have we, what's it? We started at 12 my time?
It's
No,
probably been
1
over an
o'clock. No,
hour.
it's been
Yeah.
over an hour. It's been an hour and 11 minutes. Literally an hour and 11 minutes exactly. Okay, so that's new. I've never done that before, where I just go for an hour and 11 minutes without even looking. Thank you, Peyton. Is there any call to action that you'd like the listeners to hear from you? Where do you want them to find you? Any last nuggets of wisdom?
I think what wants to be said is if you like this conversation and you want to connect, I love Instagram. I'm at Paden Hughes on Instagram, and I love TikTok. I actually like TikTok more than Instagram. I know it's kind of weird.
I can't with
I
TikTok.
love
It
TikTok so much.
scares me.
Like I'll get on on like a video and it's a full 10-minute video on TikTok. I'm like, this should probably be a YouTube at this point for like a mini podcast. I also have a podcast, 100% Woo podcast, so that's another great space to be in. But yeah, that's what I'm really excited about in the world is helping people lift dense energy and reconnect to their magic and remember who they are. Because I, for the longest time, thought that I just had a weird personality, which is sort of screwed up, instead of realizing I was this like absorbent, sensitive, going around collecting everyone's bad energy and making it my personality. And it was a beautiful clearing to lift that off of me and realize, oh my gosh, like I'm a different energetic. I've never known my own energy. And it's
Mm.
really profound, isn't it? To sit in your own vibration and go, my gosh, I really like this. This is
Yes.
awesome.
Yes.
And there's so many beautiful tools to do that. So I would say, like, if you're resonating with someone's voice, go find them because there's also no coincidences in who we resonate with at this point. I'm like, oh, we've all lived in past lives together. Of course,
Mm.
we found each other in just different meat suits.
Yep.
That's what we're doing. We're finding each other again, and it's beautiful.
Thank you for saying that. Yeah. Oh my goodness. You guys, thank you for listening.
Hmm.
Clearly, Peyton is a magic, miraculous, beautiful catalyst for transformation and has so many incredible tools and also understands the logical linear world as well. So she really can hurdle both of those worlds and understand from both perspectives. And I think that's a really, really effective, unique tool that you have that you can understand both of those worlds, the corporate world the like linear logical 3D world and this really magical kind of non-linear world. So thank you for the work that you've done to become more of who you truly are. Thank you for being out here on a limb with me and helping me to be out on a limb with you, because I think I've talked about and said things that I've never said before, and it's really exciting. So thank you. It was a very, very, very fun, dynamic conversation, which I just hope we get to have more of.
Yes.
And yeah, guys, go ahead. I'll put it in the show notes. Paden's information. Go ahead and follow her. Really interesting content that she has, and loving you, and can't wait to see you guys next time. Bye for now.
So I want to let you guys know that I have changed the name of my breathwork from mountain breathwork infused with Reiki, which is just quite a mouthful, and some people don't really understand what it means, to transformational breathwork, because we just get it more now. We get what that means. And you're going to have, if you show up and you allow me to guide you, a deep, beautiful transformation. I've been working more one-on-one with people, and that is really rewarding for them and for me. So if you're wanting some one-on-one support to feel held, seen, known, loved, and have the ability to regulate your nervous system and rewire, really from the base, it's really the hack. Instead of 10 years of therapy, it's like one session can really get to the root of what those blocks and those fears, and we don't even have to understand it or analyze it, is what's so beautiful. Same as with the Reiki energy. We can just allow the breath and the retraining to do its own work, the body to do its own work, the wisdom. And you're your highest authority, so you get to kind of decide how far and how deep you're going to go, and you're only going to have the healing that you're ready and willing to have. So I'm actually about to do a private session now. I had one yesterday. They're going so well, and people are just getting so much out of it. So I'm excited. I'm excited to work with you one-on-one. Reach out to me if that's something that you're wanting to try, and I promise you're going to have a beautiful experience. If this episode resonated with you, I have one simple request for you to give yourself a moment to leave a 5-star review and share a few words about what the Authentic Creative meant to you. Your review isn't just for me, it's for the people out there searching for inspiration, healing, and reminder that they're not alone. Each review helps this podcast reach more souls who need this conversation, these breakthroughs, and this magic. So if this show has uplifted you in any way, expanded you in any way, or sparked something inside of you, pay it forward by rating, reviewing, and sharing it. Thank you for being here, for listening, and for being a part of this incredible community. Keep shining.